Good morning, Botai. There's an interesting discussion among the poskim whether or not a person is allowed to add spices to a dish on Shabbat for whatever reason, for taste or for color. So first of all, in terms of coloring, there's a Shibbolei Aleket, Rabbeinu Tzidkiyahu HaRofeh, Mishpachat Anavim, he was one of the great Rishonim who lived in Rome. So he says, he quotes the Sefer Re'im, Rabbeinu Eliezer Mimetz, who says that the forbidden work of coloring on Shabbat Tzovea only applies to materials, fabrics, and the like. But with regards to food and drink, there is no coloring, and therefore if a person wants to put a little turmeric is a yellow spice, to turn the food a little bit yellow, it's mutar on Shabbat. Similarly, Marana Bet Yosef brings this down as well, halacha, and he says also, let's say a person wants to put eggs on something, but to make it a little bit brighter, he wants to mix a little bit of mustard into the egg to make it very bright yellow, so it's also mutar, because there's no tzvi'ah, there's no coloring by foods. The Rama also brings in that you're allowed to mix white and red wines on Shabbat, and there's no issue of coloring over there either. So we see that the Rama is also on board with this psak of Shulchan Aruch that there is no coloring with regards to foods or beverages on Shabbat. Now another thing to deal with besides for the coloring issue is that of cooking. The halacha is that at least for Sfaradim, once the food is in a kli sheni, which means once you dish it out of the original pot that it was cooked in, into a plate or a bowl or whatever it is, you're allowed to put spices on to give flavor. That's with regards to cholent or anything else that you want to spice on Shabbat, because once it's kli sheni, it's no longer mivashel, and you can put whatever spices you want into it. However, Ashkenazim are a little bit more machmir. They say that if it's liquid and you transfer it to kli sheni, then you could put spices. But if it's a solid food, let's say from a cholent or potatoes, meat, solid foods, even when you transfer it to a kli sheni, as long as it's still yad soledet bo, it retains its kli rishon status. It's called davar gush, and therefore you can't put spices on it because that's going to cook the spices. But that's not the halacha according to Sfaradim. According to Sfaradim, it doesn't matter, liquid, solid. Once it's transferred out of the kli rishon and it's in a kli sheni, you can put whatever spices you want. However, you have to be very careful not to, let's say a person's tasting the cholent or whatever it is, and he tastes it from the pot that it's cooking in, and he sees it's missing a little bit of spices. You can never put spices into a kli rishon, because when you do that, you're cooking the spices in the kli rishon. That's mamash bishul Shabbat, so you have to be very careful with regards to that on Shabbat. Zat Hashem will continue tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.